Hey y'all, it's y'all favorite cozy girl, Chi the Reality Queen, and I'm back again with another episode of Robe Chronicles. Tonight, we're talking about Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 8, Reunion Part 1. Okay, I'm gonna give my thoughts at the end of the overall Part 1, but it starts with the women getting ready, and they all look good. Honestly, I do think that they all overall look good or have pieces of themselves that look good. Like Giselle came out in a plain black dress, and honestly, it looked good. I'm not saying it's like the fashion girls, but she looks good. Robin's outfit was terrible, in my opinion, but she looked good. Like Robin isn't ugly, so she's able to kind of sometimes pull off things that maybe other people can't, right? Because she's a beautiful woman. Um, Karen ate down. She looked so good to me. I loved her outfit. So just beautiful. I really, really love that dress. I know a lot of people have a problem with like that front gray piece, but I think that was really the stunner to her look. Like, oh my God. Candace looked good. Mia looked good. Wendy, I actually really liked her outfit, even with the piece. What I did not like was that jewelry. Ugh, costume jewelry. And if it's not costume jewelry, even worse, because I just feel like it just did not look good. It didn't, I felt like she could have gone with like maybe a, a piece that was bigger, but just not like that. Like it just didn't look, it didn't match the aesthetic because her dress was kind of like dramatic a little bit with that white piece. So that necklace was like a no. And I didn't really like her hair. I think recently I've been seeing her with her hair up in a bang, and that has been her look. That has been it. That has been, it makes her look so youthful, so pretty. So I just, Ashley looks really cute. I just don't like the way her hair is laying. I don't know what it is that's going on, but I don't like how it's laying. Mm-mm. It's not it's not great. um NECA, I'm not a fan of her dress. I'm also not a fan of her hair, but I will say that her makeup is really good. And so she looks good. Like she doesn't look like a mess. Like her makeup matches her. Her dress has elements that I do like. It's just not my favorite of the looks. And then her hair is also not my favorite, but I definitely think her makeup looks really good. Also, Karen's hair, I forgot to mention that, so cute. Like, I don't know who, and I know her daughter Raven is in fashion now. And if Raven came together to style that look, baby, Raven, your mama should have paid you because she looked amazing. She looked amazing. But, anyways, so that's their looks. Um, Giselle comes out and Andy has to tell her, like, oh, girl, you're sitting right there. And so she's like, so who has the other seat? Like, first seat closest to Andy. And she's like, and Andy's like, oh, Karen does. And she's like, oh, that's good. You could see it right there. She was upset. She knows that the cameras are rolling once they start walking out. So she had to try and play it off, but old girl was not happy about that placement. And you could tell that she found out about it when she walked out to the set. She was expecting to just come, sit down in that first seat and start kikiing with Andy. And Andy was like, baby girl, you are a seat back. So I think that kind of threw her for a loop a little bit. Um, then all the girls come out and he starts asking everybody like how they're doing, like he usually does. He talks about how the stage is filled with their photos from the fashion shoot from the magazine, and he's like, oh, and NECA, you don't have one because you weren't well known enough, so we used the picture from you getting crowned as like the grand dame, and like congratulations. But anyway, he was like, so how was your first season? And she was like, oh, 10 out of 10. And that's kind of a funny question to ask because I'm like, who is going to be like, it was a 0 out of 10? Like, they're trying to get asked back. No one's going to be honest, even if she didn't have a good season. If you ask me, NECA did not have a good season. NECA did not have a season that warrants her a second season. That's my personal opinion. However, I feel like there is an element of the producing that got involved that may have led to her having such a terrible season because we didn't get to see who she was. We didn't get, I mean, we got to see her sister and her champagne, the bidot, but it was like, that was so short and it wasn't really, and then we got her to see her little IUI process. But out of 18 episodes, NECA probably had the spotlight on her for about an hour on her. And that's why I specify not her fighting Wendy, but just on her and her stuff. In 18 episodes, where every episode is 1 hour or more, she probably had 1 hour total of attention. And I think I might be giving her some grace. I don't even think she had that much. And this is if it wasn't relating to her fighting with Wendy. I'm talking about just talking about her, who she is, and where she's at. And I think that kind of sucks, but that's life, baby. I hope that because we all know Candace isn't coming back, they don't give her grace and be like, oh, we'll keep you again. No, I hope they get rid of her and replace her with somebody else. I think they got to kind of go back to the drawing board. I think Kay is a really good addition. That would take them, if they do what I want them to do, that would take them to a good place. I'll give my cast ideas at the end. But I mean, like after my part 3 of the reunion. But anyway, so they continue on and they're talking to, like I said, he's going through everybody and he asks Ashley, like, how's the divorce going? This and that. And she's like, oh, there's been some movement. I don't know why Ashley likes to lie to the general population. Like, it, girl, you're not getting divorced from that man. You don't ever plan to get divorced from that man because you broke and you cannot take care of yourself. And that's okay. Just admit that. Don't try to act like, oh, we're done, but you're not. And Mia even had to put her little 2 cents. She's like, I'll be divorced before Ashley is. And it's like, and that's tea because Mia probably will be divorced. One thing about Mia, she's always going to do what she says. She lies a lot, but she does, like when she says she's going to take an action, I have seen that she tends to take that action. um then Andy starts off by setting an intention for the group, saying that he wants to see everybody move forward and, like, having the group take accountability and, just come to terms with everything because he said it was hard to watch, as it was for everybody this season. It was very hard to watch these women not get along at all. It's kind of like, why are we here? And it's crazy because I really think one removal could fix the entire group. They will never do it. They seem to like her so much. But you get rid of Giselle, and that group works. Because Robin is such a flunky that if Giselle tells her not to like somebody, she won't. Just plain and simple. And that's so weird because Robin's like 40 something years old. So it's so weird that someone could be like, don't like this person. And Robin's like, okay, I won't like them. Like, it's so weird. So weird. But I think that you get rid of Giselle, everybody else can get along. That's just my opinion. But I don't think they'll do it. But they should, just to shake shit up a little bit. Um, so then everybody pretty much agrees to being open, taking about accountability, trying to move forward, except for Giselle and Robin. Giselle was like, well, I'm looking forward to the accountability. Not her accountability, but everybody else's. And Robin goes like, oh, sure. I'm like, but y'all are the worst. So if the worst people of the bunch can't take accountability, then what's the point of even setting that intention? Doesn't really make sense. Then Andy talks about how sex always seems to bring the women together. They always seem to be able to laugh and joke as long as they're talking about sex. And, Mia said it's because they're all some horny toads, and that's probably true, and they point out like, well, sex is the one thing we all have and we all do. So, and I'm like, are all of y'all having sex? I don't know. I'm not quite convinced that Giselle is. I think that if she was, she'd be a lot less miserable than she is. That's my personal opinion. I could be wrong. That could just be a default state for her, sex or no sex. But I don't know. I'm not really buying it. And then we know Ashley wasn't having sex or hasn't had sex recently. She made that claim in a few episodes back. But I think the fact that they've all had sex and been out and about and a little, having a little fun, that they can all speak on it. Um, then they talk about Karen and her many sex partners and whether it was wet dreams count and what have you. And Robin, oh, Robin tries to shade Karen by saying, like, oh, you can't, you don't remember how many people you've had sex partners with or how many sex partners you've had or whatever. And Karen goes, no, Robin, that's Juan. You are not. Robin, year after year, tries to shade the Grand Dame and it never lands. She always, I'm not saying the Grand Dame is the quickest on her feet or is always coming after people, but the way she can tear Robin down without fail, like every single time, without fail, every single time, Robin will try to say something to her and she will just turn it back on her, twist it and tiptoe all over it. Like it is crazy. I don't even know why Robin tries. If I was Robin, I would just never speak to Karen again because you don't win. You don't win. Like Robin isn't quick on her feet, but she does try to have her little digs and they just never land. They never land. They just don't. It's like, Robin, stop. Just give it up. You lose. You're never going to win that. Um, People need to know their role. But I do enjoy it though, because every time she comes with her little half comments, Karen turns around and eats her all the way up. Then they ask Andy is asking about like, Juan's story and if Robin believes him and this and that. And Robin starts being like, there is no way to know 100% what anybody is doing for sure. Ma'am, why are you saying that? Are you saying that because you know your husband is lying and when it comes out and confirms, because all it takes is for that girl to be like, no, we absolutely had sex. Or anybody to come out and say that about her husband. Yeah, no, we absolutely had sex, or we're having sex currently. We are actively intimate. And because of that, she kind of wanted to put that little qualifier that no one ever really knows. But then she's like, but no, I trust him and I, this and that. And I believe his story. She's like, based on what he told me, I believe it. And luckily, Andy asked everybody, like, do y'all believe it? And every single person was like, no, we don't believe one story at all. But Karen makes a point. If Robin believes it, that's all that really matters. And Mia kind of, reiterates it. Like, if you support your friend, then you support her friend, even if she being a dummy. That's just it. No one believes Juan. None of those women believe it because it's just not true. And Juan knows that he married the dizziest B word alive. And so he knows he can tell this story that doesn't even sound true or real and know that she's going to take it. So that's why Robin believes it. And that's that. Then Andy asks if she feels that Juan supports her. And she's like, yes, oh my God, he supports me. He was on the show. He let people question him and blah, 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 blah. And Wendy immediately checks her like, girl, if he really supported you, he'd be here. He wouldn't let you have to bear the drama of what's going on by yourself here at the reunion. He knows that shots are going to be taken and people are going to be questioning you. And instead of coming on and saying, well, let me answer these questions, he doesn't want to do it. He let you come to do it yourself. And that is so true because, baby, if he loved you, he would. He would. He would be there. He'd be like, all the other men show up. When, and Ashley even pointed out, she's like, after Michael's allegation of cheating, he showed up because he didn't want Ashley to have to defend him on, like, defend his behalf by herself. And that's someone who cares about you. I'm not saying that Michael is great because whew, he is not. But to at least show up for your partner, that's something Juan will never do because he does not like Robin. I stand on that. I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive that if Juan Dixon were watching this, he'd be like nodding his head, but he'd be saying no out loud because that's the right thing to do. But yeah, I'm just happy that Andy is finally holding Robin's feet to the fire. I know he has a thing. He likes the Green Eyed Bandits. He doesn't really like holding them accountable much, but he finally is. And I'm like, thank you, God, just a little bit. But honestly, I don't really want to hear any more about Robin. Her story with Juan, I'm over it. Because at the same time, like they're saying, if she accepts it and she believes it, there's nothing really else that needs to be said. Like, you're not going to convince her that her man is lying. So, because of that, there really isn't any need to discuss it anymore. Leave it where it's at. What I need, if you're one of the girlies that's sleeping with Juan, you know what to do. Go ahead, drop the text, drop the pic, do what you got to do because she kind of needs to be humbled in her spirit. I mean, she's not going to leave. So I think it doesn't really matter that much. But for the general public who's still trying to be like, oh, maybe no, she don't know nothing. Her man is cheating. And the girlies are probably keeping calm because Juan is maybe providing something, but I don't know what he's providing because he ain't got a job. But whatever. Um, then Candace brought up that Robin was talking to blogs. I'm kind of skipping a bit, but just the important little pieces is what's getting discussed. Candace talks about how Robin was also talking to blogs about Giselle, and she pulls out like a receipt in which she, basically was trying to kind of shut Giselle down a little bit, I guess, based on certain things that she said on the show. And it's funny because the receipt is blurred out because it's about some blogger who I guess maybe said, I don't want my information out there or whatever. Or maybe Karen asked for their information not to be out there because she probably feels stupid. But either way, she was basically trying to like get Giselle. And Giselle was like, well, I'm not mad about it. And if I were mad about it, then, we talk all the time. So I know that she did that. Giselle didn't know. What I do know is Giselle is a good friend to Robin. So she would not want to beef with her right there on stage on camera because that is really her biggest ally. So whether she knew or didn't know, she's not going to say, I didn't know on camera. She's just going to sit there and accept that she knew no matter how bad it is, so her and Robin can be cool. And whatever they got to hash out afterwards, they hash it out. But she had to save face. And so people are like, oh, the receipt was a flop. The receipt wasn't a flop. The receipt was there, and the receipt shows who Robin is. Giselle just had her back because she's a good friend to Robin. Um, so then Andy asked her, Candace, well, what would it take for you and Robin to kind of fix your friendship and come to like better terms? And per usual, per usual, Candace starts to cry. And all of a sudden, Giselle is laughing like, oh no, not the tears. Oh, the tears. Somebody get her a triangle or whatever. And she's basically making fun of Candace for crying. Candace calls her an effing B word. And Andy tells Giselle that she's being kind of mean and this and that. And it's funny because I don't think Giselle laughing at Candace crying is a big deal. I don't. I really, really don't. I don't think it really means anything. I think that we know that Giselle is a nasty human being. We know she's mean spirited. So for her to laugh at Candace is like, status quo. Like, that's not anything. And I don't think Candace should have expected anything different. Like, Giselle has no like voice, if that makes any sense. Like, she can't read anybody. She has no smart comments. She can't do any of those things. She has no quips that she can give, like quick quips that she can give. She literally is a dud of a character. So what she can do is lean into being that mean girl that laughs in the face of people crying. That's why Giselle doesn't like to cry or show emotions, because she knows what she does when people show emotions. So she doesn't want to show emotions so people can't get her in the only way she knows how to get people. That's it. That's all that's going on. So for me, I don't think it's bad. I think she's doing what she knows. That's the only way she can, when you cry at school and everybody's like, oh, cry, baby, cry, baby, cry, baby. Like, you're in elementary school and it's like the biggest thing and it's so dramatic. Like, Giselle never lost that. From 4 years old, 5, 6, where people used to be like, oh, you're crying in school, you're such a crybaby. Giselle never lost that. She has kept that spirit from 5, 6, 7 years old. And that's the best she can do. She never learned to actually be quick witted or smart or, be able to read people. So because she never learned that skill, the only thing she knows how to do is be that kind of bully that laughs at people's emotions and does stuff like that. But that is also exactly why she does not feel comfortable showing emotions to other people, because she knows that what she does is she makes fun of people who shows emotion. So she can't let other people see her emotional, because what if they make fun of her the way I make fun of them? It's pretty simple. That's why it doesn't, like, Candace, you need to stop crying. That's number one. I know you're very emotional. I know things get to you. I know Robin was your good friend. I get that. But you cannot continue to cry over people who do not give two shits about you. Those tears are wasted, wasted tears. Do not do it. I can't, obviously, people who are emotional, they can't control it. But like, you have to figure out a way to stop allowing people who are so like they don't care about you get to you in that way. um and then, whatever, she gives her response, and then they ask Robin what would get them over, and Robin's like, well, if she thinks that I would really plot against her, then we don't need to be friends. And again, that response is actually very telling. Okay, so I know a lot of people are like, yeah, Robin, woo woo, you're so right. If she don't believe you, then she shouldn't be your friend. But the reason why that answer is telling to me, because it just goes to show that she's already been told not to go back to Candace. Like, don't be her friend. Because even if you thought somebody is your good friend or was your good friend, and that person hurt you or believed something about you that was so negative, why wouldn't you say, if this person believes this about me, that's disappointing. I would never do something like that to someone I consider a friend. That's just not who I am. And if that's what she believes, I'm so sorry, because this person is my friend and I hate that they think that of me. And I don't know what I can do, but let me ask them, what can I do to make you believe that that is not something that I would do? Now, that's how you would treat a good friend. If you really cared about somebody and you really liked them, that's how you would address it, because they're your friend. You're not going to just let it go over something silly. You'd be like, I don't know why you would think that of me. Like, what did I do that made you think that? And how can we resolve that? Because I don't ever want to give you the impression that that's the type of person that I am. Plain and simple. But the fact that she was like, if she thinks that, then we don't need to be friends. Let her stay where she's at. I'll stay where I'm at. That wasn't a Robin or a good friend's response. That's the response of someone who is a marionette doll to someone else. My belief. Then they move to Karen and talk about her PAVE event. And then they talk about um, Candace's tweet, I guess, that she made in relation to um oh no. Then they basically asked, I think, Giselle um about whatever, and she talks about how she thinks that Candace is the reason that she's getting death threats, hundreds and hundreds of death threats. And I'm not here to say that that isn't happening, because I'm sure they all have gotten death threats. But I'd also like to note that they couldn't show one of them, or any even really negative tweet, because when they showed a tweet that Candace liked, it was basically a tweet talking about the colorism. They couldn't even show a tweet, and I know, like, you guys were like, oh, they probably just didn't want to show that. They showed multiple texts on Salt Lake City of the women being talked about, Jen, all types of stuff. And those were real life negative tweets. They could not show, and I know they had those producers scouring the internet, but they could not show one tweet of Candace liking something negative about Giselle that would lead to people sending death threats on Candace's behalf. They couldn't show one thing. I didn't see one tweet. And that's very telling, because the producers love to supply a receipt to the detriment of Candace's character. And the fact that they couldn't do that, and the one receipt that they did show that she liked, and that's how I know that they know the intelligence of their fan base is low, because they showed a tweet that wasn't even negative, and everybody's like, oh yeah, they got receipts. Did you read the tweet? Like, what? And that's how it happens a lot with this fan base. Sometimes y'all don't be staying on topic. Someone will talk about A and y'all will talk about E. No one was talking about E. We talking about A. Now get back to A. Make your argument about A. I don't care about E right now. When we get to E, we can talk about E. But by the time we get to E, y'all want to talk about F or G. And I don't like that. I think we as a fan base need to do better at sticking to the topic at hand, on both sides, on everybody's side. There's a lot of people that be trying to, like, we're talking about apples and we wanted to talk about grapes. Baby, we talking about apples right now. We're doing apples to apples. That's it. But it just doesn't happen. Um, then Robin brought up about a rumor about Chris's limp um penis. And I'm just like, girl, what are you talking about? And she really went in with this rumor like it was a fact. And I'm like, that's how I know that that group conversation with bloggers is real, because she brought that up to read Candace and Chris and whatever. And everybody knew that had come out as fake. And everybody was like, girl, that's not nothing. Like, the girl came out and said she lied. So why would you even bring it up? And then Karen, thankfully, is like, the fact that you're letting rumors like that, like, live on, is the reason why people do it. Because when you come and sit on the show and repeat a rumor like that that has also already been debunked, why wouldn't anybody lie about anything? Because if I can say it and it gets a headline, and then the women mention it on the show, boom, that's it. That I've won. I've won. And that's why Robin Dixon, please. No. I can't talk about her. They got to get her off that show. Um then, in relation to the PAVE event, they talk about how a guest talks about how or a Twitter person talks about how Candace's tweet about sexual assault event and Giselle claiming sexual assault, and they were like, Giselle's like, I never said that or did that, and blah 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 and blah 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 blah. And she was like, okay, but you did say that Chris made you go into a room. And Andy goes, would that be considered sexual assault in the court of law? And he asks to Wendy. And Giselle goes, Necca's the lawyer. And I'm like, but Nick could be sitting on the end like a mute. So why would he address her when Dr. Wendy has made it clear she's the authority on things? Maybe not the authority on this because she's not a lawyer, but she seems more memorable to Andy. I'm dead ass. Andy didn't even remember Nneka was sitting on the end of that couch. He may not say it, but in that moment when he asked Dr. Wendy about it, he had no idea that Nneka was on the end of that couch. He did not remember that. I don't care what nobody said. He did not remember it. He didn't. He did not remember it. And that's why that had it happen. And honestly, if that's any indication of her being on season 9, she's just not memorable. Sorry. Um, but then but yeah, they were like, Giselle was denying it. I never said he forced me. I never said he made me. I never said this. And they're going back and forth. Candace is like, am I crazy? We don't have to go back and forth. There's a recording. And I'm so glad she said this because they were just going to let her and Giselle go back and forth with Giselle saying she never once said that. And she did. Like, it was clear as day. And the reason why Giselle doesn't remember that she said that is because she lied, right? When you lie, you don't remember what you lie about. That's the problem. So if he really did what he did and made you feel uncomfortable and whatever, and you weren't throwing doves and that was a legit story, you wouldn't have forgotten what you said. But you forgot what you said because you decided to lie to throw dubs on your story. So now when you're coming back and you're being asked about it, you don't remember what you said because you lied. That's the problem with lying, right? We learned that early on as a child. You don't lie because you don't remember lies. You'll remember the truth. And that's the problem. And I hate the fact that the producers were really going to let it happen. But finally, I don't know if Andy was like, get it or something, but he was like, the producers are telling me that you did say that he made you. And that's when she finally was like, oh, did I? Yes, run it back. Y'all could have ran this back when she first denied it. But y'all let her deny, deny, deny. And everybody was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I do remember her saying that. And then boom, there it was. She said it plain as day. He made me do this because he made me go into a room with him and blah, blah. Girl, what? That did not happen. That did not happen. And that's why you need to apologize. Um, and I think it was crazy that they just didn't want to play it back. And so, Candace basically overall acknowledges that she did come for Giselle in a nasty way online, and she could take accountability for that. Maybe she should not have done it or said those things. Giselle takes somewhat of an accountability for saying that he made her go into a room, and that is not what she meant. He asked her to go into a room. Now, did she say, I'm so sorry for doing that to you and your husband and lying in those ways? Those words were not uttered, but she took some accountability in fixing what she said. But the fact that they were going to let her get away with it and just gaslight Candace like she didn't know what she knew was crazy town. I don't like it. Um, and then, yeah, it was just really weird. Then Andy calls out Karen about being the fence and saying that you say you're the fence and you don't pick sides, but you're always coming for Robin. And it's true. And that is true. I love the Grand Dame. I love Karen Huger, but she do be coming for Robin. And I think because it's such an easy target, because Robin be trying to go hard and be trying to get mad and trying to do little things. And it's just so easy for Karen to eat her up. Just easy. Just it don't take it, like I feel like it doesn't even take her any thought. Like it doesn't mean nothing to eat Robin up. It's like, oh, okay. Check. That's easy. Check. Done it again. Like that's why I think she does it. Um, so then she was like, Oh, Andy was like, okay, Robin, can you say three nice things about Karen? And she does. And then she's like, okay, Karen, can you say three nice things about Robin? And the very first thing that Karen says is that Robin is a really good friend to Giselle. And that is a fact, baby. Okay. Because one thing about Robin is she gonna have Giselle's back. No matter how trash she's being, she gonna have Giselle's back. And it's an admirable trait, actually, to have your friends back no matter what. But at the same time, it also kind of goes to show why Candace can't really trust you. I think it's right there. It's self-explanatory. Then says she's intelligent, and then she says that, or she says she's nice or whatever, or intelligent, which somewhat whatever. But then she says, although she's good at or strategic at playing the victim, and baby, that was it. Robin is really, really good at that because her fans and people alike believe in her victimhood. They do. She's so good at it. And I'm like, why don't you play the victim with Juan? The one person who be actually treating you bad on camera, like for real bad. You don't play the victim around him. You're a strong black woman, big, bad, and bold when it's Juan. But when it's anybody else, beat me up. Do you want to hit me? Do you want to give me my lashings? Like, she be ready. And it's just whack to me. I want better for Robin. I think that Robin used to actually be decent. I mean, she was always aggressive. I will never say that's not a characteristic of hers, but I think she used to be better. I think that recently she has kind of gone into a shell that's just there to support Giselle and dislike whoever Giselle dislikes. And I don't like that for her because I think she's a person that could stand on her own and she for some reason doesn't want to, which is weird to me. Um, then they go on break and like we see Mia and all of them go back to their little rooms to get ready. And we see Mia and she calls her boo, her new boo. And Gordon was in the room and she got Gordon and him talking, saying hi and stuff. And honestly, this is a very tacky situation. It's a very low class situation. I'm sorry. I don't know how else to put it. It's very low class. And yes, Mia, I, I like her, but her drama is low. It is low class drama. I think they're handling it pretty well. The fact that everybody seems to be able to get along, but it's low class drama. I'm sorry. That's what it is. It just is what it is. Um, and I know like people are living for the situation. Like they're like, ooh, this drama, whoop whoop. Like Mia secured herself 2 seasons. But what Mia really should be doing is securing herself a man with real life money. That is what she should be doing. Like, I don't know if you got to go find another 70-year-old or what you got to be doing, but this situation ain't it, Mia. And I pray another rich man on you because this little low class shit you got going on, no, end it. I mean, I'm happy she's in love with someone or she found the person that was the love of her life from high school, whatever, but it's tacky. What I did think was weird was I think it was Robin was getting glam and Ashley were both getting glam in the same room. That was weird to me. But anyways, they move to the Mia drama. That's when they come back from their little break. And the Mia drama was an excellent way to end off the season. I do think so. I think it was very contentious. It kind of rose to the occasion. Um, But, she tells us that she's living in a small penthouse now. G was in Charlotte, but he's moving back to live across the street from her, probably for the kids, of course, because that's the toughest part of divorce or separation. Um, and she says that Ink is her high school sweetheart, and they like got separated due to whatever, and they separated because she was in school. I'm like, in school where? Mia went to college? Did Mia go to college? Did she ever say that before? I don't think Mia has ever once said she went to college before. Did she say that? Like I need like Please, someone come and tell me what is going on, because I feel like Mia has a different story of how her life went. She had a trust fund, she went to college, she was doing all this stuff. I'm just like, when did this happen? I feel like whatever comes out of Mia's mouth at the moment is the story. Maybe next week she'll have a new one, but today, this story today is what it is. Like, it's just so crazy to me. And then Wendy hops in and she's like, "Hey, Mia, like, I don't know what's going on or what's been happening, but just so you know, G is running around telling people that Ink came to try and take Jeremiah because Jeremiah is his kid." What in the Maury is going on this show? Please, Real Housewives of Potomac, you have got to stop being a low class show. You have got to stop it. You have to stop it. Paternity issues? I can't. I can't. I'm sorry. Like, people want Mia to be the face of this show, but her issues are just so lowbrow. Like, oh God, I like her, but as an auxiliary person, like, I don't need her to be the main anything. Like, please let us rally around other people, because this is not it. Like, people talking about Kay and her fighting and she being ghetto and whatever, but I would rather have someone fight for what they believe or be for getting hit than a paternity case on Real Housewives of Potomac. Like, that is crazy, y'all. But tell me what you guys thought about part one. That is all I have for today. Um, what do you guys think about Mia? Like I said, I really like her. I do. I just think the lying is getting out of control and we need to start holding her accountable. If any other character lied as much as Mia, we would not let it pass. There's no way Wendy could lie that much. Candace could lie that much. Giselle, Robin, any of those people could lie that much and get away with it. But for some reason, Mia is getting a pass. Why is that happening? I don't know. Y'all, just tell me what you think, how you liked Reunion Part 1. I'm excited for the next two parts. I'm excited to see who they're going to bring back and who they're going to get rid of, because, baby, a lot more people should be gone. And they really, or maybe just hold the show. Don't record for a minute. Like, let them get it together or something. I don't know. Just please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Like I said, tell me what you think. Let your friends tell me what they think. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.